We also have another eye, of course, on the growing humanitarian disaster in the PRC with the Chengdu Sichuan earthquake and the death toll there, of course, now well over 12,000. We'll keep you abreast of that situation. Meantime, China Eastern says it wants to raise 15 billion yuan. About 80% of that will be spent on new jets. The carrier looking for an investment by Singapore Airlines, of course, last year, but minority interest rejected SIA's offer in January, while Eastern's parent is opposed to a higher bid by Air China. The chairman of China Eastern told Paul he's optimistic he'll get capital investment and that the aviation market will keep growing even after the games.
The slowdown of the Chinese economy after the Olympics is only a forecast. From what we can see right now, China is only going through a correction. We feel that the demand for Chinese aviation is still very high. Thus, we've maintained an annual growth rate of 10% throughout our entire development phase. The Olympics is only a catalyst and driver for our overall growth. We're not planning any big changes after the Olympics.
How will you fund that expansion?
We have different avenues of funding. Some of our planes are bought on installments with bank loans while other planes are leased. We try to balance the two to ensure that we have sufficient capital flow to support our operations.
Your gearing at the moment is about 94%. That's higher than your rivals. Do you have any plans to cut that?
Our gearing is indeed high right now, but we're trying our best to solve this problem. For example, at the end of last year, we tried to attract strategic investors to explore using foreign capital as one way to reduce our debt. We've also requested for more capital injections from the central government. The next step for us is to utilize capital markets to solve our gearing problem.
Can you give me a bit more detail on the 10 to 15 billion dollars that you plan to raise? What are you going to do with that? Is it mostly for buying airplanes or for paying down debt or other investment?
We've incurred our debt mainly in the process of fleet expansion. This debt represents a ratio of our capex on fleet expansion. So we will try to use our gearing as a method of capital injection to expand our fleet and change our asset structure.
The deal with Singapore Airlines, is that now dead in the water? That's not going to happen?
I think it's postponed temporarily because that complies with government regulations and our company's needs.
China Eastern, the parent, rejected Air China's takeover bid. Would you not do a deal at any price?
First of all, the price that Air China set was not formally presented to us. It was more of a market rumor or an announcement it made to the public. So there was no real basis for negotiation.
The head of the aviation regulation body, Li Jiaxiang, is a former chairman of Air China. Does that complicate what you're trying to do?
We should look at it this way. As a corporate player, the issues he looked at were industry issues. Right now, from a government standpoint, the issues he is considering should be national issues. Our strategy and that of our investors should fulfill the good of both industry and national interests. I don't think it is more complicated than that.
China Eastern is not at the moment part of any airline alliance. Are you trying to change that? Are you going to join an alliance?
Yes, we will. We have been widely discussing the issue of an alliance in recent years. We have also been talking to a few airline alliances and will make a decision on this issue as soon as we can.
Is there any particular alliance that you're leaning more towards?
I project we will make a decision within the next year. Right now, we're trying to balance the various interests of our current partners and make adjustments accordingly. To date, we've had more interaction with SkyTeam.
Goldman Sachs says oil prices may reach $200 a barrel. Are you increasing your hedging in anticipation of that?
We do have some oil hedging. Right now, we're hedging about 40% of our international fuel costs, and we have achieved definite results. There is no consensus on the economic outlook right now, so I can't say whether oil will hit $200 a barrel, but I can say that oil prices will keep its upward trend in the short term.
The chief of China Eastern Airlines talking to Paul there in Shanghai. Separately, CEA has sent 7 planes to aid in the relief efforts following the quake. It didn't comment on whether the quake will impact the airline or the bottom line, though, in the longer term. Here in Hong Kong, mixed calls in the market following quarterly results and disclosures by HSBC. The market broadly approving Hong Kong Shanghai Bank's earnings by boosting the share price a couple % yesterday after the bank announced a smaller write-down.